I was raised by a single mother, after my father left a short time after my birth. Right about as I turned 11, my mother reunited with her high school sweetheart, a man named Calvin Richard Herndon. The two of them decided to get together again, and suddenly he went from having raised an adult daughter and seen her leave the nest, to suddenly having a near-teenage son on his hands. However, he handled that with more than good grace, especially when fate handed him a second near-teenage son when we adopted my brother James. He was a former Marine, and he taught us all of the things that men need to know, how to do what's right, the various things that men need to know how to be able to do, etc. That man, the one who taught me about what it means to be a man, passed away on Saturday, August 27th at the age of 70. Now Richard, as I and most of those who cared about him called him, wasn't a fan of Power Rangers, and in fact, he didn't really understand my interest in what he saw as simply a silly children's show. He was the one who fostered my interest in Star Trek, and he enjoyed many of the comic books of yesteryear. However, on Power Rangers, we never saw eye to eye. However, I do know that he was proud of the way this channel is growing, even if he didn't exactly understand it. All of my subsequent reviews, but especially this one, are dedicated to the man who, by his own choice, became my father. Rest in peace, Richard. Hello there, heroes. I'm the Orange Ranger, and welcome to another Power Rangers Dino SuperCharge episode review. I would like to thank most of you for your understanding during this difficult time. However, I am making this review now because I just felt like it was time to start again. Oftentimes in situations like this, you need to keep yourself busy. You've been a very understanding audience in the past, and I am more than grateful for your understanding now. So, back to the grind, huh? I have to admit that it was a little bit easier to decide to start reviewing again, as I heard other people talking about this episode and saw that good things were being said. If I had an episode like Besties Forever to come back to, it may have been a little more difficult. But as it stands, let's take a look at the 10th episode of Dino SuperCharge, Gone Fishin'. Gone Fishin'? Besties Forever? Can we get some proper grammar in the titles, please? Some of the Rangers are enjoying a fishing trip, having been invited by Riley's brother Matt. But while the others are just having a good time with Chase catching plenty of bootfish and Coda using the hands-on approach, Riley is having fun through competition. He wants to measure everybody's fish to decide a winner. Matt lets his fish go before Riley can measure it, telling Riley it's only about having fun. Over in the lab, Prince Philip gets a call from the Xandarian Science Academy and reports that they have searched the entire Earth and there's no sign of the Silver Energem. Okay, I get that it's been a few months, especially if the hiatus is taken as literal real time, but the entire planet? Really? An alarm goes off, which Kendall says is not a good sign. Remember, folks, Kendall is the smart one. The alarm is that an object from space is headed towards Amber Beach. It lands in the forest nearby, and Tyler, James, Philip, Ivan, and Kendall go to investigate it. The probe begins playing a message from the Silver Ranger, the 10th Ranger we've now seen. The Silver Energem ended up in space because of shut up, but the Silver Ranger, who only says that he's in the far reaches of space, says that his distance from the Titanos Zord has caused it to deactivate. He's about to tell the Rangers where it is when blammo! It was Singe who blasted the probe, which irritates Fury because he had said not to damage it. The Rangers morph and have a quick and I think original footage fight. And by the way, when there are this many Rangers, I love getting the odd color combinations. We're used to seeing 5 Rangers in a fight, but having those 5 be red, purple, gold, aqua, and graphite? That's an odd but pretty cool lineup. The Rangers blast the bad guys back and grab the probe, taking it back to the lab. Back at the fishing hole, Matt, Riley, and Coda are having a closest cast to the can contest. Riley gets really close. Coda throws his entire fishing pole. Matt accidentally snags Chase's hat, but does land it right on the can. But Riley is all, didn't count, didn't count, didn't count. And Matt gets irritated that his little brother can't have fun without making everything into a contest. After getting his worms back from Chase and Shelby, who thought they were noodles, he leaves on his rowboat. Over with the villains, Snide has emerged and reveals that while Singe did destroy the probe, he actually already knew the location of the Titanos Zord, apparently just intuition. He sends Singe and Fury along with a monster Hookbeard to go destroy it. Back in the lab, the memory core of the probe has been destroyed, so the message is gone. Kendall can try to get a message to the Silver Ranger, but it's a bit of a long shot. Snide sent Hookbeard because his electric fishing rod can zap things through the water, and the Titanos Zord is hidden in a lake. The same lake that Matt happens to be rowing on. The villains see Matt and decide to get him out of the way first, zapping him, and he falls into the lake. Riley gets worried when he can't find his brother, even more so when Chase finds his burnt-up boat and hat. However, Matt is somehow okay. He wakes up in a dark and dry place. His phone still works, must have a nice waterproof case on that thing, and he calls up Riley. He spots a strange symbol on the wall and takes a picture and sends it to Riley. It is the symbol of the Titanos Zord, meaning Matt is inside. It must have saved him, Shelby says. Sure, while being absolutely inactive. However, time is running out because the air is running out. The Rangers in the lab go to join Riley, save for Kendall, who now has a reason to put together a Titanos. Riley tells his brother that the Power Rangers are coming to save him, but he passes out. 8 Ranger Morph! All of the bad guys, save for Heckle Snide, fight to protect Hookbeard from the Rangers, but Tyler manages to break through. But Hookbeard casts him away, and then Fury starts beating him down. Until Keeper shows up and lays down the freaking law. Get lost or prepare for the wrath of the Keeper. Fury knows that wrath is for real, and he takes off. With that taken care of, Keeper casts a spell on the water to protect it from the zapping, and then moves all the water into the sky, revealing the Titanos Zord. He starts the activation process and then leaves. Tyler goes supercharge mode and the Rangers fight Hookbeard, but he's got a tough gut. James throws Phillip and his hard Ranger head at the monster, and nothing. Tyler uses a supercharge Morpher blast, and nothing. So the Rangers literally throw all they have at the monster, activating the Victory and X Chargers, and using an 8-powered Victory Maximum Final Strike to take Hookbeard down. Snide, of course, grows him along with a couple of spike balls. But there's Kendall's keen sense of timing again, as that's when she shows up with the brand new Titanos. But she's also realized that the Titanos Zord is so powerful, it actually requires all of the Dino Chargers to operate. The Rangers logically decide to let Riley sit this fight out. As soon as they get Matt out of the Titanos Zord, he's going to need to see Riley looking for him. With all of the Chargers loaded in and full power restored, Titano beams Matt back to the shore. Riley wakes him, and Tyler gives kind of a, "Thank you, fine citizen," speech that was a little bit overdone, but that did make it kind of funny. We then see Tyler go Dino Drive, and then Dino SuperDrive. Was the Dino Drive step really necessary? Shelby says, "Wow, the Titanos Zord cockpit is amazing." You're right, Shelby. It looks absolutely like every single other Zord cockpit on the show. Not buying it. Titano does have an interesting ability, though. Since it's loaded with all of the Dino Chargers, it can use them all. It uses the Helio Charger to suck in and blow back out an attack, taking out one spike ball. Then it uses the Gravity Charger to flatten another until it explodes. Then it uses the Blaze Charger to blow fire at Hookbeard. The Rangers decide to take it to the next level and form the Titanos Megazord, which is a Unizord formation like the Terracharge Megazord. Its tail becomes a giant axe staff, and it's so tough that Hookbeard's attacks don't even move it. After a few swipes with that giant axe, Tyler uses the Dino SuperDrive Saber. By the way, that sword takes 5 chargers, and there are 8 Rangers right now. Doesn't that seem like a little bit of a waste? To power up the final Colossal Crush, and boom goes Hookbeard. Things get really interesting over on the villain ship. You know what? I'm just going to name that thing Sledge 1. So, over on Sledge 1, Heckle has taken over for Snide, and while Snide was more focused on the mission, Heckle's a bit more cunning than that. How did Singe know where the Titanos Zord was? He weakly tries to say intuition again, but Heckle asks one more time, this time with the threat of a blast. Frustrated, Singe blasts at Heckle, who dodges and blasts him back. Singe says, "Compared to my boss, you don't know the meaning of the word evil," and retreats, eventually getting on his Epcot ball ship and leaving Earth. Fury runs in, demanding to know what happened, and Heckle tells Fury that Singe is to be destroyed on sight. Fury says, his voice dripping with happiness, "My pleasure." Keeper returns the lake water, though shouldn't it be quite a bit lower now? I mean, the Titanos Zord is quite the ice cube. And tells the Rangers that with the knowledge that all of the Energems are at least safe, it is time to focus on their final task, defeating Heckle. But they need to find his ship first. Where is it? Where is the Sledge 1? Oh, what's that? You guys need help finding something? James will go look for it. Bye! Yep, that's right. James is leaving again, this time to find the Sledge 1. Of course, I'm not sure why you need to send anyone looking for it. It is a massive spaceship that crashed through a fence and is just sitting there on Earth. I mean, they haven't even bothered to say that this thing is usually cloaked or anything. It's just sitting there. So I bashed the whole moral of the day thing last week, but this week they handled it pretty well. The moral of the story is not that Riley was wrong to be so competitive. It's that people are different and have fun in different ways. And especially brothers. Brothers are brothers, even if they're very different. I can even tell you guys that this very week I've gotten to observe how different me and my brother are. However, nobody likes Coda. Everybody hates him. Just 'cause he eats worms. Now, I am not sure why that weird stick appeared last week, but it seems to be gone, so let's dig up some super fossils. Ah! Episode 10, Gone Fishin'. Pros, this show does so well when it tells its own story. The Titanos Zord has a perfect introduction in first battle, and this was an epic story with all of the Rangers so far. And even the subplot moral of the day was better handled. Cons, there are a few little single-bit error lines that I call head-scratchers. For the epicness of the Titanos Zord, Hookbeard was a little monster of the day. And really, where the heck has this been? Without question, without hesitation, Gone Fishin' gets a perfect 5 super fossils out of 5. To me, the hiatus ended this week. This is the show we were all missing. This is what Dino SuperCharge is capable of. Last week, several commenters said something that I was trying to say, but put it in better words than I did. This show does not do well when it tries to have a moral of the day. It's so much better when it just tells its own story. And boy, oh boy, did it do that this week. All 9 Rangers in action, and heck, Silver's in this episode as a hologram, meaning that for the first time, all 10 Energems are represented. The Titanos Zord being hidden where it was logical, though how its Energem got into space requires a little bit of explaining. And we even had good infighting drama on the Sledge 1. And it even still managed to have a moral. This is how Power Rangers should handle having morals in its episodes. set it up at the beginning, have something in the core story touch on it. In this case, it was Riley telling Matt to calm down while he was trapped in the Titanos Zord, with that message having been reversed earlier, and then resolving it at the end. Work morals into the story you want to write. Don't write your story around a certain moral. There were two main head scratchers in this episode. The first was Kendall saying an alarm going off was not a good sign. I'd have said duh if Coda had that line, but Kendall? The genius? And it wasn't even in reference to what she was talking about. She'd been talking about the silver energem. The other one was slightly more irksome, and that was Shelby being wowed at the Titanos Zord's cockpit. It is literally the exact same set as every other Zord. I think they've even had 8 Rangers in the same cockpit before. Nothing about this was different. I mean, really, that line should have just been cut, and you just keep Tyler's, wow, you can really feel the power in this thing. I mean, it wasn't even Fury's darkened Terrazord cockpit. And while I think the name was actually great, and I get the theming with the water and the lake and the fishing and the all of that, Hookbeard was just kind of monster of the day for the introduction of not just a new Zord, but a huge, powerful new Zord. It just felt like this should have been a situation where the other Zords weren't getting the job done. In fact, the only way I think this could have been done better would be as a two-parter where finding the Titanos Zord was more desperate. We need the Titanos Zord to counter this new threat. But it's really my last con for this episode that wraps this all up. Where has this been? Do we have to get a new Zord or weapon to get stories of this quality? Maybe so, because that forces the writers to write Dino Charge's story instead of filler moral plots. I sure hope we don't have to get a new Zord or weapon to avoid getting episodes like Besties Forever. Moving on to next week, my highest rated episode of Dino Charge was Let Sleeping Zords Lie, because I just found it such a great girl power episode. Well, we might be getting SuperCharge's equivalent in the 11th episode, Love at First Fight. Beauticruel plans to use Poisandra's magic paint and brush to make any man fall in love with her, while Heckle devises a plan to steal the Ranger's energems. That is going to wrap up this review, and once again, I'd like to thank almost all of you for being so understanding. I'm not going to commit to any kind of schedule just yet for these reviews. It is my goal to get back to doing these reviews on a regular basis like I was. However, I do know that I need to be readily available to help out with things around here, and that also I need to deal with things in my own way. But please, guys, seriously, do not worry. I want to do this show. I love doing it. I love reviewing Power Rangers, and I want to review every episode. That's my goal. It's not some kind of heavy obligation. It's something that I want to do. I want to keep making videos. I want to make better videos. I want to get better at this, and I know that I'm going to. So, until next time, make sure you tell your friends and family that you love them, and may the power protect you. The Rangers blast the bad guys back and grab the probe, taking it back to the lab. Back at the fishing... With all of the chargers loaded in and full power restored, Titano beams Matt back to the shore. Its tail becomes a giant axe staff, and Hookbeard's attacks don't even affect it, it's so strong. Then... Frustrated, Singe blasts at Heckle, who dodges and blasts Singe back. Singe says, frustrated? Bleh. Maybe so, because that forces... But it's really my last con for this episode. Well, moving on to next week, my highest scored episode of the... Oh, by the way, I think I wrote down 1, and I'm pretty sure that was like a 3?